keep their countries healthy and safe. But they tell you that your educational system is not good because you don't invest in them. But that's the same educational system that produces doctors that are found hired all over. Even though they have to train some of them to take some special exam. What's their professional regardless? So we can make this country work. And I'm not just making math, quote unquote, as people will say in Nigeria, because Dr. Fred will not be around in 2019. The only Peter Obi I will get around about it, but secondly, to tell you, I got harassed a lot about your candidates since the magazine. Everybody speaks so well. Oh my God, the economist. I respect especially AJ anyway, it's my good friend. But when we got he circling for what I know about economics. And with regards to having courses that study and makes you redundant, just go to the university and study something. I'm talking to you and I think your career plan and study a master's degree in public administration. I'm practicing journalism because I live in the US where what you need is that education. You can be anything that you want to become. So there's nothing that says that because you study education in the university or in the you cannot become a journalist or you cannot become something big or you can't even change around and go and study more. No. So we have to create an educational system that is open-minded. But our curriculum is outdated. It's just like our leaders. They're outdated. A lot of these things need to reform itself. And I have said it, and I can repeat it here, that the future doesn't lie in classrooms that are built with bricks. It lies in technology. COVID taught us, but I'm talking about it before even COVID in 2019. That the future is such that very soon the child of a farmer in Nigeria can go to school with the daughter of a multi-billionaire in the UK by way of virtual platforms. And then nothing happens. Zoom. You can do anything on Zoom these days and people learn the same way. Since I've been in Nigeria last 3 years, I've had 3 or 4 offers to teach in universities in the US. I turned them down because police kept arresting me and harassing me. I said, "Look, let me face these people." So I know I've spoken for too long, but these are things that we are passionate about. But again, to come to youth, you have to create jobs for young people and provide the enabling environment for young people that want to create their own jobs. But you are not going to be able to compete internationally in the market internationally if you live in a round-traffic country where there's no electricity. And you want to produce something and compete against somebody who has 24 hours electricity. Leadership so far in this country is a crime, and we intend to end it. All right, well, thank you so much. Before I pass it back to you, well, there's no way going to mention my guy, and I will not wake up. Did I not hear you throw it down for Bogalu? Don't cry, but I hear you. I think it would be nice if we are having a debate or we are having all these the new generation leaders debating you, Mogalu, and all of that. I think rather than not talk about the whole school. So we'll come to that. But to speak to what you just said, you are very correct. Even right now, for those of us who might be in the audience, for the companies who may not be aware, Harvard is actually doing some free courses online. That it will do some of them. Yes, some of them. Yeah, exactly. So you guys need to go Google, maybe I need to go find that link sometime. There are several. So you can go to school for real, like you said, with the source of billionaires because technology is leveling the playing field. So I just wanted to put you through that thing. They are giving a lot of courses, not just Harvard. I saw one from Stanford, I think. I have to go Google
Cambridge University, Cranfield University.
Online courses that are free,
Exactly.
It's everywhere. It's not Harvard, everywhere, I have a guy whose kids went to school.
Oh, connection. All right, let's go to the next person. Sega, back at you.
Thank you very much. We because it means that you don't have to wash your kids' clothes 5 times a week. You know, you can just tie it up. I think his network has been going in and out. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go.
Okay. Sore's network has been going in and out. Like we did in 2019, we took most of the candidates when they became candidates to Unilife to talk about housing. The housing department hosted us, and it was a very wonderful event. Sowere was there, Professor Kingston Morgalu was there, I'm sure Feladoche was there, lots of other people. Dr. Obi was there, and it was a fabulous event. The only people that were not there were those perennial contestants. They didn't come necessarily when they were there. And I believe as we mature, very attentive, couldn't value it so that when they speak to them, but again, let me throw this to the lady. Madam, if I distinguish with your man, you have to come and ask more initial your question.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I suppose you wanted to mention it. My name is Sifuna.
Yes, Sifuna.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I'm really enjoying the conversation, and I must give it up to Mr. Sowere. I really admire your consistency because I think you've been on our faces, you've been holding conversations, you've been there way back, despite everything, you're still very consistent with holding these conversations and speaking your truth in a way that you understand it and communicate it in a way that will make sense to us. Honestly, I hope we get to the level of political maturity we need as a country to be able to be where we are. And I think we're really making that progress. But, you've actually said I think actually resonates with me also. But then when I think about Nigerian politics, I somehow personally think that we operate more like informal institutions playing a role in our politics. But when I say informal institutions, I mean like right? And that's why I see more like sort of political corruption cutting into us. When we talk about like politics, about what's happening and monopoly that comes afterwards. That is where we kind of get it wrong. Probably because the ideal candidate, can't actually get into power without doing. And that's why because of the ways formal institutions or written laws play a role in it. And I'm wondering because you're also a Nigerian, you understand the rules of the game when someone takes for someone to get into politics. And it could be so what it takes for someone to get into politics. And it could be a question of the end justifies the means. You have the good intentions, but you have to get into power to be able to do that. We started seeing a change in that pattern when Peter will be sorry, I'm bringing we are all Nigerians. I think the only pattern, the change to the narrative we saw was when Peter Obi moved from PDP to Labour Party, and this conversation around him not being able to engage in these corrupt practices, right? And we see how that has kind of mobilized people around him, people who share the same dreams, who have actually seen what we have been through, the kind of political in the systems. And I'm just wondering, like, so how do you want institutional corruption in your electioneering without getting caught up in the same web of political corruption you are fighting against? And I also think I like your perspective on development, where you talked about beyond GDP growth to quality of life and promoting dignity and social justice. I really think that's really awesome. And also what you said about fiscal states, that's also really very important, right? Taxation and the rest of them. But then considering that approximately 42% of our population, and which is like 95.1 million people, are going to be further pushed down into the poverty line. How do you, what kind of strategy do you, I think it's really a very good thing, right? If we're able to pay tax and then, contribute better to, government revenue, so government can have enough to do the work they want to do. But how do you want to tax poor people? How do you want to tax this percentage of our population who can actually give themselves, 3 square meters? What kind of strategy are you looking at around this? I don't know if my questions are, but
Your questions, I get questions, and I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me loud or clear?
Yes, we can.
All right. One, I want to address Peter Obi again, and it shouldn't have been a topic tonight, but it's important. I do not, and I'm saying it categorically, stop saying that Peter Obi couldn't pay PDP corrupt money. That's not true. Peter Obi is one of the richest people in this country. Note it down. When Atiku became the presidential candidate in 2018 or thereabout, Peter Obi went in and snatched the vice presidency from Ike Ekweremadu. I'm telling you categorically, and this conversation will come up in the future because the truth will come out one day. Because he needed to be vice president to Atiku. Atiku had just bought, like he did this time around, the presidency of the PDP. And for you to get the vice presidency, you have to drop something. Something huge, according to Sabinus. And Peter Obi was able to make that payment. I'm telling you categorically, he did not abandon PDP this time around because he didn't want to pay them. He abandoned PDP because of Wike. Wike was drunken with money and he wanted to be president at all costs or presidential candidate of the PDP. He outspent Peter Obi for every amount that Peter Obi was willing to give. Wike was ready to give 1,000-fold more. And Peter Obi saw it clearly and just took off. It's not because somehow he was the Pope. Let's get this very, very clear. I told you earlier that I know I follow Peter, but I covered him a bit. But the conversation is there are times that you don't tell stories because they are not necessary to be told. But that's very important for you to understand. The narrative you're seeing about Peter being in social media is the same kind of narrative you see when there's a frenzy, a well-funded frenzy. Even our social media influencers, I will tell you for free here, they don't do anything for free. Not for long. You have to, you can find a few of them that have conscience, they're politically aware, but you have to be dropping something. It's just the Nigerian way. Our Nigerian media, they don't do things for free. You have to be dropping something for you to be getting favorable coverage, or they must have something they can gain from you. I'm not saying this to demonize everyone. It's experience because I'm also in the media world, even though I don't do it, and they know that, and they hate me for that as well. But coming to your second question about how do we not tax poor people, I just mentioned
No. Sorry to interrupt you, my special guest. You said you just made a profound statement about Peter Obi now that I'm just not going to go because I know he has some of his fans here. So what you are saying is that he's actually playing the money politics with them. It's just that this time it was at
you cannot be in PDP in 2014 and tell me you don't know about corruption. 2014, 2015 was the height of petrodollar corruption by the PDP. The trials are there. They are trying people who converted money meant for fighting Boko Haram into election in 2016,
2015. I have not read anywhere that Peter Obi condemned Jonathan and the corruption they perpetrated. I've not read it anywhere. He was part of the party, the PDP. All the PDP chieftains who were involved in corruption are under trial, including the ones that collected 3 billion naira to go and hire prayer warriors. So Peter Obi was part of the party at that time. Till he wasn't part of those who stole money. But don't drink water yet. But he at least was on the crime scene. You know, yes, he was on the crime scene. And you can quote me any day that he witnessed the crime. And you know, Dr. Ope, if you witness a crime in the US and there's a trial, even if you are not indicted, you'll be asked to come and be a witness. So the story is not fully told. And this is not a Peter Obi. I'm not stripping Peter Obi. It's not for, but I'm just doing what we should do to ourselves as citizens, because what is driving a lot of the lionization of Peter Obi is the same thing that drove that of Buhari. He's not a thief. He doesn't own a house. When Buhari declared his assets, everybody was like, they put their hand on their head. So this man get this many assets. He couldn't even finish declaring it.
I have to agree with you.
Yes.
I'm one of those guys.
I would not. Nobody should fall for, I am this, I am that, and you can't. Look, just so that you guys don't understand, I don't hate Peter Obi. When his supermarket burnt down, you can go and search on Twitter. And when I was live on Facebook calling for fire stations to come and put out the fire. I called him after the place burnt down. He didn't answer my call, but the reason I think he didn't answer my call is that Peter Obi always distanced himself from these businesses because he likes to keep this clean rep. He likes this subterfuge, which is a Buhari strategy. If Buhari wants to do bad thing now to you in Nigeria, he will travel abroad. He will have somebody else do it, and he'll come back and say that I didn't do it. Like the one he did today, where he told the APC chairman to go and tell people his preference. The man went out. He said the president chose Ahmed Lawan. 5 minutes later, maybe an hour later, the president denied. He said, no, I don't want to have a hand in. I didn't want to impose the candidate on you. That's Buhari for you. And I think Peter Obi has a genetic relationship with Buhari in that flight. Very always standoff. Oh, I was in PDP, but I wasn't a thief. But we know that the PDP is made up of a band of thieves. So if you could have lasted in PDP since 2014, like I said, you were on the crime scene. And we need to talk to you if I was in the police department. Anyways, but that's not the conversation now. I'm just giving you guys that background. But the other part, which is the last question, is taxing the poor. There's no reason taxing the poor. The poor is overtaxed. But you must also appreciate something. Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is the lowest on the West African coast, or Sub-Saharan Africa. We need to fix that. We need to make rich people pay. I have done research before, investigative reports. All these pastors with private jet, big men, they don't pay taxes. They don't even pay parking fees at the airport. If you're able to collect from them what they should be paying, you wouldn't need to tax the poor. How much tax would you need to tax somebody who is earning 30,000 naira per year? At 10 months, he receives 300,000. Then 12 months, 360,000. What are you going to tax the person? But what about the guy who is receiving 14 million? What about the guys who's got 2 private jets? We can tax. It's not that we can tax it. We tax them. The rich must be taxed according to their income. The pay as you earn in Nigeria is pay as you suffer. The rich don't pay. You have all these Minister of Finances. They will ask the custom to give people waivers. Where do you get waivers? One day I walked into Ghana. I traveled to Ghana, and I had 2 extra things I bought at this. They told me I have to be taxed, but the custom guy is not going to collect cash from you. You go to there's a bank right there at the airport where you pay your duties. But you get that. So if you collect your duties appropriately, you collect from the rich, pay as you earn or pay as you control, you will have more than enough. But on top of that, you got to keep the yam eaters out of the ban because there are plenty of yam eaters in Nigeria. The accountant general is one of them, but he's a small boy compared to what they are doing in NFPC, customs, FRS. Guys, Nigeria is a crime scene, both financially and physically.
Thank you. Thank you for that response. Uh, Dr. Abraham, you have something to say?
Yes, I was actually going to pose a direct question to Comrade Shomore. First, I want to find out, do you genuinely believe that the media can refine the way that it portrays Nigeria, globally? I'll give you the reason why I'm saying that is, like you know this, that I live in the UK and traveled everywhere. Now, the UK, I think this time November, we were buying fuel at maybe £1, 2 pence. As of today, the fuel is almost double in price, almost £1.90. But you won't hear it in the news. There's a way that they would change the narrative, or that they control what the world should see. But it's almost like Nigeria. We put all our dirty clothes in out there. Nigeria is the poverty headquarter of the world. But newly, truly, some of these things are concerning, but it's not as worst. I travel a lot, and I realize that we're suffering a lot, but we're not the headquarter of poverty in the world. My second question, so that you take them together. You and I have had discussion a lot at long time, before, and I remember you discussed something with me about the dollar. Do you genuinely believe, like the Chinese did, in pegging the Chinese currency that it's been sustained for almost 15 years at 1 to 10 in terms of pounds, and maybe 1 to 15 in dollars? Do you think we can actually be creative enough to bring the naira value back, as low as possible? Do you think it is possible?
Yes. Your first question is how the media portray the UK and Nigeria. We are a a neo-colonial state. We used to be a colonial state and now a neo-colonial state. We're never going to be treated the same way they treat themselves. But guess what? And I'll say this to you because I get these questions a lot from Nigerians in diaspora. If you walk into Nigeria or you travel to Nigeria and you leave the airport and somebody steals your baggage, you want it to be reported. You will want it to be reported so that you can at least get your baggage back. You can't blame the media all the time. Instead of figuring out how not to report your dirty underwear, how about you clean up your underwear? That you have like clean underwear doesn't mean that BBC will always claim you have clean underwear, because there's underlying factor of racism, profiling that takes place in those international media platforms. But you make it complicated and easy for them to do when you really do bad things. And I'll tell you, without equivocation, that Nigeria does a lot of bad things, especially Nigerian leaders. And when they do, somehow somebody somewhere has to report, can't hide them. Just as you're complaining about the way they report us, well, don't we read reports of your prime minister violating COVID rules? It's also your media that reports it. So it's neither here nor there. What I focus on is not how to manage BBC, Reuters, or CNN. I'm focusing on how to make our people feel happy. Because when people are happy, sometimes they don't even read news. So you can write whatever you want. It's not a problem. So That won't be my problem too much because I've been in the media, and you can accuse me of doing some of the reports that don't make Nigeria look good. But I wasn't targeting Nigerians. I was targeting the leaders who steal and rob Nigerian people. Second aspect of your question, as I understand it, is your whole issue about our currency. Do I believe that our currency is being undervalued? Absolutely. And I seriously believe that we can fix some of the problems. How do we fix some of the problems? We can recalibrate um, currency, you know. But you can't do that with this set of leaders who are carrying around begging bowls. Nobody respect them. They don't even understand the issue. So they can't even make an argument for a stronger currency. Why is it that Ghana cedis is maybe 10 to a dollar? I think it has better value. And Nigeria's naira is, I mean, how much? 56,000 to a dollar. It's because of leadership, nothing more. And because Nigerian leaders are more interested, quote me, more interested in round tripping than they are interested in the value of the naira. The CBN governor of Nigeria is more interested in selling dollars than is interested in shoring up the value of the naira. Quote me anywhere. That is why when the CBN governor announces that he wants to run for president in Nigeria, what serious countries do is to fire the CBN governor. But look at our own. After he has bought vehicles, giving money to people, and said he wants to be governor, he's still the CBN governor. Which country in the world do you see do that? And would you now be upset if they report that Nigeria doesn't know what it's doing because it has a stupid, thieving CBN government? Even the IMF said to the CBN that there's no reason for you to be keeping 3 exchange rates or more. They said they have about 6. I don't know about 3. And why do they keep these exchange rates? Because they want to go and buy dollar for 350 and sell it for 600. Criminals. So there's no amount of preaching you can do to the international media. They will look at you with their gyroscope. I don't know if that's a correct scope to look at. I'm just using that and say to you, these guys are nuts. Why are they doing this to themselves? And they write according to that because they don't respect you, but you have also not made yourself respectable. Are you still there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. So that's my
Thank you.
submission,
Thank
sir.
you. Okay, thank you very much for that. We'll take Niger Sports.
Yeah. Hi
Niger
everyone.
Spartan.
Yeah, can hear you. Can hear you. Hi everyone. Hi Dr. Ope and hi Shega. Hello Sowere. Um, Yesterday there was a vicious, gruesome murder that occurred in Ondo State. The world witnessed over 50 people get killed. While
70 at the
yeah,
last
over
count.
50. Yes, it's over 50 people
You're
get
right.
killed.
Yeah.
Yes, get killed while um, they were supposed to be in a safe place, a place of worship. You're vying for the position of president under your party. What is the grand plan to ensure the security of lives and property is made a priority? The truth of the matter is, Nigeria is a failed state over and over again. Not because Nigerians don't persevere, not because Nigerians are not suffering enough, right? It's called a failed state because nobody's life is guaranteed.
Mhm.
No. So, what's the grand plan as regards security architecture? Because a whole lot of times people say, "Oh, regional policing." Some people say it's faulty system for you to have the federal government control policing, right? So what's that grand plan you have when it comes to securing lives and property of Nigerians?
Let me shock you. My first proposal is to fire the commander in chief of the armed forces. Right? That's Buhari. The guy doesn't know his left from his right. In putting a new person. And I spoke when I started this conversation earlier. I've spoken to this that when we started revolution now in 2019, people said, "Why do you want to truncate democratic experiment or process?" And I said, "Did the guy win election? Even if he did, the biggest democracy or the most important democracy in the world is for a majority to accept or reject a leader. So there's nothing that binds you to a 4-year tenure of a serious failure." So we proposed that Buhari be kicked out. Of course, nobody understood that, and when they did, they just couldn't, or could care less. And then I was part of NSAS. In fact, as we started this in Abuja, and we're saying, look, we shouldn't NSAS, or this NSAS was just police brutality, especially when they had gone to Lekki to draw a red line. We should cross it. Of course, because for some other factors, that did not happen. If we push NSAS well enough, we'll probably not be having this town hall meeting tonight, because our conversation narrative would have changed completely. And so to go to your question, is not what most people expect that I'll talk about, which is training, equipment. No, I think you fundamentally have to look at it from the point of where Nigeria is, and they're part of the conversation we're having so far. Hungry people, unemployed people, children kicked out of school without their fault, all contribute to crime, insurrection, and insurgency. So the first solution to this problem is to have economic security, to have social safety nets for citizens, so that they don't become so hungry, so insecure and unsafe that they decide to take laws into their hands. There must be equitable distribution of resources so that the dignity of the Nigerian person is restored. Then you can move to the next level, which has to do with the leadership of the security agencies, starting from that of the president, equipment, training, motivation, so that I don't know how many Nigerian security agencies are willing to die for Nigeria anymore, because they don't even believe in this country anymore. Look at what this country has done to them. The other day, policemen were trying to go on strike because their bosses were stealing their allowances and salaries. So except the leadership changes at the highest levels, when I mean highest level, from the presidency to leadership of these various security agencies, and you are not going to have security back in place. Security or insecurity. Insecurity is the way I want to put it. Has become a business in Nigeria, and it's not going anywhere until, you're not solving that problem until you solve the other problems. I'm sorry to say, the other nice things that you hear about equipment, training, motivation is nothing except you get to the root of the problem. And you can't get to the root of the problem without thinking about the president who have biases for religion, biases for his ethnic group, whether they're in Nigeria or outside of Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is screwed because there's this just fundamental mistake, who is the president, or fundamental mistakes at all levels of governance right now. And it didn't start from Buhari, started way before him. But this guy right here, is the worst so far.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
And
Can you
Dr.
see that?
Okwe, please, should I, if you permit me to ask, let's be wrapping
Yes.
up,
All right. Yes. Yeah. There's so many people want to ask you questions, but You take too long to answer, so you are going to stay small. Oh yeah, let's make it short and sharp, because they will blame me tomorrow that I didn't let them come on stage. So Sega, please, you are the one moderating. Take somebody down once they've asked a question, and bring more people up, please. Guys, those of you inboxing me to bring you up, I'm not the one handling it. Sega is one co-host moderating for me right now. All right. So Sega, go for it. All right, let's take another 30 minutes and we got to go. The man has tried. He has to. He has a lot of stuff going on in his life right now.
Okay.
Political season. Sega, go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for answering to that question. The conversation still goes on. You can use the State of the Nation hashtag Sowere and ask your question. I'm sure he'll be able to answer you on the timeline once we leave here. Just make your questions very sharp and straightforward so that they can answer it quickly and sharply too. If I you have the floor.
And good evening, Sowere. All right, so I'll just be direct with it. What do you think is this what we'll call a sort of track record, in the past that we expect you to replicate going into the future as a Nigerian president?
I did not understand that question.
Okay, so like
well.
what are,
break it down to my level?
okay, yeah. So what I'm asking is like, so what are those things we can hold hand to say these are the things you achieved in the past that we can then look at and say, okay, yeah, I mean, because you achieved these things in the past, that there is a chance that you can replicate it in the future as a Nigerian president, like more or less your abilities.
I will say this to you, that in my youth, because I'm 51 years old now, even though people refer to me as a youthful candidate, by United Nations definition of youth, I'm no longer a youth. What was the most important need for Nigeria between 1983 and 1999? It was democracy. And we had military rule. When I was 21 years old, I was one of the people who fought for democracy in Nigeria. And I can't say enough of that. And sometimes when you are choosing candidates, it's not a bad idea to ask them, what did they do between 1983 and 1999? Did they participate in a demonstration? Did they speak out under military rule? Or they were just having fun and hiding under their bed or chilling? And I suffered for it. I fought for democracy because democracy was the most important need of the Nigerian people, particularly between 1993 and 1999, when a fellow named MK Abiola won an election and he was deprived of his winnings. I stood with him, we demonstrated, I was expelled from the university, I was arrested and detained 8 different times before eventually the military was chased out of power. Because that was what was most needed at that time. And when the civilians came into power and they started misbehaving, and I can give you a number of misdemeanors and criminal acts that they engaged in. One of it was Obasanjo asking for a 3rd term in office. I was one of the people that fought against him when he imposed a sick person just because he was upset with not getting his 3rd term. I was one who fought against it. So, fought against corruption. I started a media company that became a global platform. So there's nothing I haven't done. I've been a fighter, freedom fighter, if you want to call it that way. I shouldn't be assigning titles to myself. I've been an entrepreneur, setting up a company that became a global brand. I have engage in fighting police brutality, fighting for human rights, fighting for economic justice, fighting for environmental justice. There's nothing I haven't done. I've never done anything for myself. I've done something always for others. So, and I don't know how to quantify this because I'll be the first to admit to you that I have been poorer and gotten poorer just fighting for what is just, fair, and right. So, if you are looking for my bank statement, it will make you feel bad and probably discourage you.
All righty.
Thank you. Okay.
Before you go, quickly, I want to I ask for permission so that I can make an announcement. But first, I want to give Sowere his props. When we argue, we argue. But when a man has earned props, we must recognize it. When you guys look at some of the iconic pictures of Abiola when Edwala was going on, you will see the picture of a very young-looking, hungry-looking boy inside that picture. That was Sowere. He was right there every day. So I have to give the man his dues. I cannot take that away from him. He's been there, and that was 1993. You got to say, wow, this is 29 years. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to commend. I want to say two things. First, let me talk about my app. One of the reasons why we are sponsoring some of these spaces and even in Clubhouse and everywhere is to promote our new Afrocentric app. It's called Gist House. In fairness to Sowere, he has wanted to come there. It's me that have not brought him because we have this. The app was buggy, but thank God we are resolving the issue now. The Android version is working very well, so I want to encourage those of us who are on this app right now. It's an Afrocentric app that works like Clubhouse. It works like Twitter Spaces. It is the African entrance into the exploding audio conversation world. It's a new industry just springing up, like we all know. Twitter Spaces itself is less than a year. Clubhouse is about 2 years. And we felt that why should Africans always be playing catch up, be using the other applications that are created by the white guys? Why can't we create one that where we can have African conversations in an African way? In other words, an Afrocentric forum where we can tell our stories, have our fights, have our arguments on business, on politics, on whatever, in our own way. So we created Gist House, and I want to encourage us to download it. It's gisthouse.com/Android, or you can click at the link, the tweet I posted up, I pinned above. If you click on that tweet, you will see the link to get to the app. We had a promo a while back, but the promo we are doing today is when you sign up, you get 500 free Gist coins, which is the cryptocurrency of that app itself, just for creating your account. They don't give you that on Clubhouse. They don't give it to you on Twitter Spaces. We felt the users of an app are actually the ones creating the value. So we recognize you and we appreciate you with that cryptocurrency. In addition to that, apart from having the same features you see on Clubhouse, we have several features to monetize your conversations, particularly if you give great value, you're a trainer, or maybe you can have your club meetings there. You can have your private alumni club meetings. If you are one of those, if you belong to an alumni, we want to encourage you to check it out. If you belong to organizations or businesses that do meetings all the time, like MLM, network marketing, that's a perfect app for you to use because you can run private rooms, you can run public rooms, you can run paid rooms, and you can sell right there inside the app. So help us check it out. It's called Gist House, and you can click at the link above for you to be able to check it out. Hopefully you will like it. It's a new app. Yes, it will still be a little bit glitchy here and there, but we are working very hard to make it as seamless as Clubhouse or Gist House. We need encouragement of Nigerians, Africans generally, but Nigerians particularly, because this is an app that is owned by Nigerians. And right now, the team that is working on it now are a Nigerian team. We started out with a Kenyan team. The app wasn't working well. We got a whole new team because I had this pride that I wanted to be an app of Africans built by Africans. I know I could have gotten Americans to build this, but I believe Nigerians can do this, and they are doing a great job now. Let's encourage them. Check up the app. Let us know what you think. Having said that, the second announcement I wanted to make is that we are here. Mr. Sowere has been here with us for 2 hours. I want us to encourage his political thing. We have this thing going on for us in Nigeria that is nasty. We want our leaders to spend all their own money and their time to campaign to come and rule us. And then we're expecting that when they get there, they will listen to us. It's just not even make it. It's not right. If somebody has to borrow billions or get some people to give him money to run, they are the ones that will call the shots. So I want to also encourage this man. I'm not patronizing him. He doesn't need me to talk about his record. It's right there. But how many of us are dipping hands in our pocket and saying, okay, I like what Sowere is doing. I'm going to put 1,000 in his campaign. I'm going to put 1,000 naira. I'm going to put 10,000. I'm going to put 50,000. Even I was embarrassed when I saw a post from the other. I realized I haven't given to Sowere recently, and I had to go transfer money. Why? The man is doing what you and I would love to see, but we can't do it. Me, I know I can't go and start organizing, let's go and demonstrate in Aso Rock. It's not easy, but he's doing that. And at the same time, he's been consistent. We just said it for like 20-something, 30 years now. So please, Mr. Sowere, if you can share a link to your donor page. In fact, it's a problem for me and him before to even get the man to start accepting donations.